Hello and welcome to another one of our TAC tutorials. In this one, we're going to talk about a little bit of an introduction and an overview of the software Pantora. Pantora is used with the TAC 7 and the VLB. This is the software that you use to run your materials, to run your measurements and post-processing, and be able to see in a 3D space, as well as queue up for the VLB. So with that, let's go ahead and take a dive into Pantora. You'll notice we have several tabs up here that we can bounce around. We're going to be focusing on these first four right here. After you've scanned in your material into the TAC 7, you can obviously open the TAC 7, insert your material into that, and once you have inserted the material, you're going to start here in this TAC 7 tab where you have your start job right here. When you go into that, you're going to have, you can see the different types of measurements or post-processing that you can do depending on what you need done. Most of the time you're going to need to measure and post-process, but depending on the job you're doing, you might just have to measure if you need to do multiple post-processings, or if you've already measured it and you just need to re-post-process, you can do that as well. So once you've also named your material, you'll go down into selecting the options that you have depending on what type of material properties that you have going on. This will generate the different maps that you have, like displacement map or transparency map, your Fresnel, and your isotropic or anisotropic. Once you have that, you're going to do your pre-scan, so that way you can select your region of interest, and then you're going to be able to start your measurement. Here you put in your output folder, as well as where you want the AXF to be generated as well. With that, you'll hit start, and it will start processing the job. So if we were to hit start there, it would right in here have your material, your progress, and the status of it. So it will then, the TAC 7 would start processing, taking pictures and all of that for the material that you had. Once that gets done, it would jump down to the post-processing, where then your computer will take over and actually start post-processing that and actually making a usable AXF file. Once that gets done, it's going to jump down into your material tray. So for instance, here's this blue diamond vinyl that we have that we're working with, where we'll pop into the editor, and you can see I've already made all my edits that I've needed. And so on a new material that you'll have, you'll be able to go in, make it tileable, a nice seamless tile here. So you can crop it, you can use the gradient removal tool so you can get a nice seamless coloring over your, depending on what map you're jumping in, as well as some other tools to make this material seamless. So you have something like the min cut or the texture synthesis that are very helpful in making that. Once you do have that all set up and it looks good, then you can jump over to the viewer, where you can actually see your material in a 3D rendered space. So we've loaded in our diamond vinyl on the default blob 3D object here, and you can see inside of this VLB environment map that we have loaded, you can really see the success of the tiling that we did in the gradient removal. So if there isn't one, if there isn't a successful edit and you could see a seam, this is where you would be able to see that and jump back into the editor and make your changes. Once you save your changes in here, this will give you a prompt to update, so you can do that. You can also view this in a point light, so you can have some different lighting so you can see that, as well as you can load in different environment maps as well. So once you have a large collection of materials that you have, you can jump over into the browser tab, where you can, as you can see, we have a bunch of materials that we've been working on. So you can see all these in a viewable format, because these are all different AXF files that we're able to load in. So if we have a bunch that we want, if we want to bring in these leathers, we can just grab these guys and drag them down into our material tray, and now we can edit them, view them in the viewer, or load them into the VLB as well. So that's kind of a brief overview of what you are capable with Pantora when you have it paired up with TAC 7 and you've been able to load in some materials. And hopefully this gives you a nice quick overview. If you want to learn and see some more, we have more tutorials and more videos as well, so we can dive a little bit closer in. Until then, see you next time.